he landed a helicopter on Johnny Cash's front lawn just to hand him a tape. A Rhodes Scholar who quit it all to mop studio floors. Why? Because nobody would listen to his songs. Until you did, and never even knew it.
To warm the frozen feeling that was eating at my soul.
Number 10. Jody and the Kid, 1968. Picture a Nashville bar, late 1960s. A struggling songwriter walks in carrying a demo nobody asked to hear. He's been told no more times than he can count. But tonight, the song in his hand is Jody and the Kid, a quiet, devastating little story about a girl who grows from a barefoot kid trailing behind her crush to the woman he marries. And a second kid who shows up at the very end in a twist that turns the whole song inside out. This was the first Kristofferson original a major artist ever recorded. Country singer Roy Drusky picked it up in 1968, and it landed while Kristofferson was still working as that janitor at Columbia Studios, broke, anonymous, scraping by.
And on Sundays I go walking down the path.
Here's the part most fans miss. This wasn't some forgettable album filler, it was proof of concept. It told Nashville's gatekeepers that the janitor with the demo tape could actually write. 3 minutes of plain language doing the emotional work most songwriters needed a full album to pull off. Drusky's version came and went quietly. But it cracked the door open, and once that door was open, Kristofferson never let it close again. Number 9. I've Got to Have You, 1971.
You came smiling softly.
A telegram-style request comes in. Carly Simon needs a closing track for her second album, Anticipation. What she gets is a song that sounds less like a composition and more like a confession. I've Got to Have You
It's all over.
Was written by Kristofferson, and Simon later admitted the song wasn't really fiction. She and Kristofferson had a brief romance, and by her own account, his presence felt overwhelming, almost dangerous.
Holding on to talking, saying nothing, knowing.
In the best and worst ways. The lyrics weren't metaphor, they were a transcript. Here's the twist. Kristofferson didn't even release his own version until 1974. 3 years after Simon's recording had already closed out her album. The songwriter let someone else say his most private feelings first. That's the pattern you're about to see again and again on this list. Kristofferson would pour something almost too personal onto a page, and then hand the page to someone else to sing it to the world.
And without a warning, I remember.
Number 8. Once More with Feeling, 1970.
Description. I never saw anything like it. To me, he's one of the greatest entertainers.
It's 1970. Jerry Lee Lewis, the killer himself, a man defined by chaos and fire, sits down to record a ballad about something quieter and sadder.
Oh, song ain't nothing special anymore.
A relationship that's still technically alive, but has already died inside. Once More with Feeling, co-written by Kristofferson and children's author Shel Silverstein,
I'm with feeling, darling, take it from the top.
became Lewis's vehicle for this slow-burning breakup song. It topped the Cashbox Country Singles chart and climbed to number 2 on Billboard's country chart. Here's the irony.
Believe each word you say. Try it once more.
The writer of a children's book filled with whimsical poems, the same Shel Silverstein behind Where the Sidewalk Ends, co-wrote one of the more quietly brutal divorce songs of the era.
Just the way you used to do. You're looking up.
And it took the wildest man in rock and roll to deliver it with the restraint it needed. Kristofferson wouldn't record his own version for nearly a decade. He just kept handing his songs to whoever could carry them best, and walking away.
You don't seem very sure of all your life.
Quick pause. Because if you're the kind of person who actually wants to know the stories behind the songs, instead of just the songs themselves, that's exactly what this channel exists for. Hit subscribe to Retrovibes. We're preserving the history hiding behind the hits, one forgotten story at a time. Now, back to the countdown. Number 7, One Day at a Time, 1980.
Have brought some enjoyment, comfort, and strength into your home.
Christy Lane had spent years circling the edges of stardom without ever quite breaking through. Then, in 1980, she released One Day at a Time, co-written by Kristofferson and Marijon Wilkin.
Help me believe in
And it became her one and only number 1 on the Hot Country Singles chart. But here's what most people miss about this one. It isn't really a love song, it's a prayer. Written in the language of quiet desperation,
Lord for my
the idea that survival sometimes means asking for nothing more than the strength to get through today, because tomorrow is too much to think about. That's a heavier idea than most chart-topping singles dare to carry.
That's all I'm asking from you.
And it took an artist who'd waited her whole career for a moment like this to deliver it with the conviction it demanded. Kristofferson didn't just write a hit for Christy Lane. He gave her a career-defining moment, disguised as a hymn. Number 6, Help Me Make It Through the Night, 1971, Nashville, 1970.
Laying soft.
A young singer named Sammi Smith records a song so frank about loneliness and desire that record executives genuinely don't know what to do with it. The original lyric read, "Take the ribbon from your hair."
Help me make it through.
Smith changed one word, "your," to "my," and in doing so, flipped the entire emotional center of the song. Suddenly, it wasn't a man asking a woman to undress for him, it was a woman choosing on her own terms
I don't care what's the right or wrong.
to spend the night with someone so she didn't have to face it alone. That one-word edit helped turn "Help Me Make It Through the Night" into a phenomenon. Number 1 on the country charts, a crossover smash on the pop charts, a Grammy for Smith, and a Grammy for Kristofferson as songwriter. Here's the part that should stop you cold. Kristofferson's own version, released months earlier, had barely registered. Nobody was listening to him.
Let the devil take tomorrow.
It took a woman rewriting his lyric and trusting a song this honest about wanting someone to turn his words into one of the defining country records of the decade.
Till the early morning light.
Number 5, To Beat the Devil, 1970.
It was wintertime in Nashville, down on Music City Road.
A janitor sweeps the hallway of a Nashville studio and overhears something that breaks his heart. An old friend, a brilliant but self-destructive man, reciting poetry while clearly, visibly dying in front of him.
I heard that eagle scream. So with a stomach full of empty,
That night becomes To Beat the Devil, a meditation on addiction, art, and the cost of self-destruction, framed as a spoken word warning from one struggling artist to another.
there was just one old man sitting at the bar.
Here's the credibility detail that makes this one land. Kristofferson later revealed the song was inspired by, and ultimately dedicated to, Johnny Cash, at the time, deep in his own battle with addiction.
He nodded at my guitar and said, "It's a tough life, ain't it?"
Cash would go on to get sober, marry June Carter, and become the legend we remember today. The man the song worried it might be writing an elegy for instead lived to record songs about redemption for another 3 decades.
I was looking for a place to get myself out of the cold.
Sometimes, a warning becomes a prophecy. This time, it became something better, a turning point.
Then he laid it on me. If you waste your time.
Number 4. The Pilgrim, Chapter 33. 1971. A drifter walks into the lyrics of one of the most quoted lines in country music history. He's a walking contradiction, partly truth and partly fiction. That's The Pilgrim, Chapter 33.
Never knowing if believing is a blessing.
And here's the twist almost nobody catches. Kristofferson wrote it as a tribute to a whole circle of brilliant, self-sabotaging artists he admired. Dennis Hopper, Johnny Cash, Ramblin' Jack Elliott among them.
A preacher and a problem when he's stoned. He's a
But listen closely to the lyric again. It isn't really describing them, it's describing him. The Rhodes Scholar who threw away a guaranteed career to mop studio floors. The decorated army officer
He has tasted good and evil in your bedrooms and your
who walked off the path the military had built for him. A man running from his devils while reaching against every rational decision he'd ever made for something he couldn't even name yet.
along the way. But if this world keeps right on,
Kristofferson wrote a tribute to his heroes and accidentally wrote his own biography in the process.
gets us older and around from the
Number 3, For the Good Times, 1970. Ray Price needed a song about heartbreak that didn't beg. Kristofferson, fresh off the end of his own first marriage in 1968, handed him exactly that. For the Good Times doesn't plead for someone to stay.
I know it's over.
It asks for something smaller and somehow sadder. Just a little more time together before everything ends for good. Price's 1970 recording shot to number 1 and won the Academy of Country Music's Song of the Year.
To spend together.
Here's the detail that proves just how universal this song really is. It didn't stay in country music. Elvis Presley covered it, so did Al Green, so did Frank Sinatra, so did Perry Como.
Anyways, thank you, Wally, for
A song born out of one man's private heartbreak in Nashville ended up sung by some of the biggest names across 4 completely different genres. Kristofferson wrote a breakup letter to a marriage that was already over.
on my pillow.
The rest of the music industry just couldn't stop reading it.
Upon
Number 2. Sunday Mornin Comin Down, 1970.
with no way to hold my head, it didn't hurt.
This is the one you've heard 1,000 times and may have never once connected to its writer. Sunday Mornin Comin Down follows a hungover man wandering an empty city on a Sunday, watching families head to church
Stumble down the stairs to meet the day.
while he can't even hold his own head up. Johnny Cash recorded it in 1970, took it to number 1, and the Country Music Association named it Song of the Year. But here's the irony buried in the credibility detail.
Closet for my clothes and found my cleanest dirty shirt.
This unflinching, almost embarrassingly honest song about shame and isolation didn't come from nowhere. It came from a man living it. Kristofferson wrote it during the years he was broke, drinking,
That I'd lost somehow, somewhere along the way.
and sleeping on friends' couches while chasing a songwriting career that wasn't paying off. He wasn't describing a character, he was describing a Sunday, and the world's biggest country star turned his most humiliating mornings
On sidewalks,
into one of the most awarded songs of the decade. Before we get to number 1, the song that finally made Kristofferson a star in his own right, and the story behind it might be the most emotionally loaded entry on this entire list.
There's something in a Sunday.
Number 1, Why Me, 1973.
I can't tell you how much you have given us.
Kris Kristofferson sits down to write a song inspired by something Larry Gatlin had written called Help Me. But what comes out isn't really about Gatlin's song at all. It's a prayer.
One of the pleasures I've known.
A genuine, unguarded plea for grace from a man who, by his own account, had spent years burning through marriages, friendships, and chances, and somehow was still standing. Why Me became Kristofferson's only number 1 hit as a performing artist. Not as a songwriter handing his work to someone else this time, as the man singing it himself, for the first time really standing center stage. It reached number 1 on Billboard's country chart,
My soul's
and climbed into the top 10 of the all-genre Hot 100. Here's the deepest irony of the entire list. Elvis Presley, a man who'd spent his whole career being handed other people's songs, called Why Me one of his personal favorites, and performed it regularly for the rest of his life. The king of borrowed songs found his own moment of grace in someone else's prayer. And maybe that's the real story hiding underneath all 10 of these songs. Kris Kristofferson spent years as a ghost in his own industry, a janitor, an unknown, a man whose songs became famous in other people's mouths long before his own voice ever got the chance.
I know that I need it.
He gave away Sunday Mornin Comin Down. He gave away Help Me Make It Through the Night. He gave away For the Good Times. Each one became somebody else's signature song, somebody else's Grammy. Somebody else's legacy. And then, finally, with Why Me, he stood up and sang the truth for himself. And the world finally heard the man behind every one of those songs all along.
One more song and then we're all over. We've been running real late here, but you guys have been really terrific.
He spent a decade writing other people's biggest hits. It just took everyone else that long to realize whose story they'd actually been singing.
God bless you. Good night.